Happy Monday evening, everybody, and welcome to the Non-Boss Continuum. I am back with my lovely co-host, Miss Marianne, and with us, joining us, Mr. Jay Bachochin.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Anybody else have a manic Monday, or is it just me?
Oh no, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get to stay at home today, and I didn't have to work. And
so you did not have a manic Monday. So you wish it was Sunday.
I did not.
So you wish it was Sunday.
Sorry, a lot of 80 references here.
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, the one thing I can tell you about Jay is Jay can rattle off like lyrics like there's no tomorrow. This guy.
Oh, my husband does that. Do you do that with TV shows too?
Well, yeah, depending on what, but like any 80s movie, TV show, song, generally.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'm still kind of living. Yeah, I'm living there. So I'm just here, just taking up space.
Just visiting.
2024,
right.
But I'm still in the 80s for sure.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I listen to a lot of 80s music.
Oh, so do I.
Gotta have my 80s hair band, you know.
Hey, I've got my 16-year-old son. He loves any 80s song. So, and he's he just got his driver's license. So it was, definitely cool playing 80s music while he's driving.
Fun.
Not too loud though.
Not too loud.
Unless it's a really, really good song, like "Separate Ways" by Journey. Then we.
Oh yeah, well, anything Journey. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm showing my age now. I'm really I'm dating myself for sure over here. But I love me some Journey now. Let me tell you.
That's right. That's when music was good.
Doesn't get any better than Journey.
Yeah, exactly.
It does not.
No. Well, hello, everybody in chat. Thank you guys all for being here tonight. I do not want to waste one moment tonight because we have a lot to unpack. And I had a conversation with Jay last night. Now, this is for anybody who has never seen Jay on my channel before. Shame on you, because this is his fourth time here. He's amazing and an amazing documentarian, amazing researcher, and he's a critical thinker. And tonight we're going to have some really good conversation about critical thinking. And so last night, let me just give you the setup. Last night, Jay and I had a conversation. He showed me some footage that he recently captured. And it's really interesting. But it's the way that Jay went about trying to figure out what's in this footage, to me, is very important information. And it shows us how we can critically think about these types of situations. When we find ourselves out there, we get something, we capture possibly something, maybe, something we can't quite explain, and some of the ways to figure out and how to go about either debunking it or confirming it, and to figure out what it isn't, to maybe figure out what it is. And I want us to have this really interesting conversation tonight. What do you think, Marianne?
Oh, well, our conversations are always interesting.
They are.
Whether we're on subject or not, right?
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second.
Well, I think that's Are you freezing up here?
No, just give me 1 second. I had to take care of a troll.
Okay.
I outed one of them earlier tonight. So I outed one of them in the chat. I think some people saw that when they were first in here, but we just don't put up with trolls here. We don't do that. So, Jay.
Yes, Marty.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk first. Why don't you kind of clue us in, give us some of the details of the instance that
was captured.
Yeah,
it was just this past February 3rd. Whenever I go out, I'm always wearing a body cam, infrared, especially at night. And that night I was out with David and Michelle Diener and Sherry, and there's 4 of us out there. And what we like to do is it's never about the miles hiked. I'm never about that. I don't care if I went into the Kettle Moraine, you know, 500 yards, 600 yards, if something interesting happened. It's all about observation and documentation. So when we go out there, and there's usually four of us, sometimes 3, sometimes 2. But in this case, there was 4. And what I like to do is what's called the leapfrog technique. And it's basically trying to isolate us, but in a safe way of isolating us. So we usually have a lead. David went up probably a good 300 yards. Michelle followed, and we kind of try to break it in between. So we're alone, but we're not alone. We're within safety distance. And that night, you'd always say if something interesting happened, it would be for the record, but it was still really quiet. And I caught up to Sherry, and then Sherry and I walked up to where Michelle already went up to David. And while we were up there, David was telling me, because I always say, anything happened? Do you hear anything? And he goes, you did hear something. So I'm like, wait, pull out my iPhone, because that's what I do. I want to get firsthand reaction of what they were experiencing. And so I'm filming David, and so now my light's on. Usually we'll walk in red light or no light. Usually I don't put on any bright lights. And this case, I was recording him, and he said it sounded like something fell, almost like as if a big rock fell. And then he heard what sounded like walking, bipedal walking. Now, David and Michelle, they are founders of their own group, Badger State Paranormal. And so they do ghost investigations. So they like to come out in the woods with me. But he was being 100% serious of what he heard. That was it. So I kind of got his testimonial, and we kind of just kept going on. We did another leapfrog until we were walking, and all of a sudden, I call it was when the chaos started. The chaos started is because I like to follow. I never lead, because I always feel like I'm the protector from the back, just to make sure nothing's going to come up and bum rush us or anything like that. Because I'd always feel like if I'm walking ahead, I don't know what's going on behind me, and I feel responsible for that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But as we were walking, I was trailing, and all of a sudden it looked like a laser red light. But it was like in midair, like about 8 feet, 9 feet above me to my right. So the people in front of me didn't see it, but I saw it to where it like kind of moved like a squiggle, almost like a tadpole. And it actually made me go, whoa. And I ducked my head. Nobody else saw it. And when nobody else sees it, it's kind of like, okay. And I'm like, I just have to document it. I'm sure my body cam didn't record it because it was in a different direction, and we carried on. And that was the beginning of the chaos, because then all of a sudden, Michelle is seeing 2 blue orbs that look like orbs right in the V of this one tree. And right when that was happening, and she's kind of pointing at that, David all of a sudden experienced the red right off the path. And then right in front of us, I saw like this white, I don't know. I mean, everything happened so fast, and nobody had their flashlights on. So to just kind of start the premise of that is, generally when something odd happens, I'll go look back at my body cam to see if I caught anything. And generally, if I don't, there's just a lot of us just walking around and body cam shaking and everything, and it's dark, and the body cam only will go about 200, 300 feet in front of you, then before it just gets pitch dark. And so because the chaos happened, and I was really intrigued by it, I was going to review my body cam footage. And I started right when Sherry and I were catching up to David and Michelle, before I interviewed him about what he heard. But then, this is the really bizarre part. is there is something off the side of the trail that I thought looked like eye shine from my IR. Again, we're not seeing the light. There's 4 of us standing in that direction, and this, I want to call it eye shine, is moving back and forth, and I say like on a swivel. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I've actually seen somebody or some trail cams of actual orbs being caught out there. But this didn't strike me as an orb for the way it moved, but also for when it turned far left or far right, it was almost catching what would look like the corner of an eye and then come back. But if I was going to say it was an eye, it was only one eye and a big eye. And so, I'm thinking, okay, well, what could this be? This is really kind of cool. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Maybe there's somebody else out there with an IR body cam on, and maybe I'm picking them up, and maybe they're moving. Now this is going down a kettle, so it's definitely not the horizon. And so getting excited about it, because I'm like, this is cool. I actually stabilized the movement of said eye, and I still thought this is just really, this to me is eye shine of something. Could it have been a small animal with tiny, beady eyes like a possum? Anything like that would make it look like one eye instead of 2. Well, we did our due diligence. I always call them a CSI investigation. I don't know why, but I'm always like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out during the day. And at this time I pulled everybody I hike with me. I mean, we just had a lot of people out there. I mean, we weren't going out there to hike, to observe. We were going to try to determine what it's not. We'll never know what it is, because I've tried to lighten the footage of the IR, and you cannot get anything. I would think just barely a shit, something to give me where's this light coming from? Nothing. Mm-hmm. So we're really looking at this during the day, and I got everybody involved of the placement of where I was. I wore my body cam in the same spot, got David in his same spot. We went out there, and we actually had a line that we were able to get like a straightaway view. Sherry came up with a great idea, and she took those like reflectors that you would see at the edge of driveways. Mm-hmm. And she actually put a white circle in it of saying, this is the actual size of a raccoon, of a possum, of a deer, of a human. And we were using that in the exact spot where this anomaly was caught. And what we come to realize, to make a long story longer, is that we had determined that it couldn't have been a person from the distance, from the height, and same with an animal, because I'm thinking it would have to be on a branch of some sort going back and forth to keep it like on a swivel. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, and there's nothing there. So it's like this light or anomaly was picked up just off the path. And our best guess from where the eye would have been, if it was standing, again, we're going to go with, okay, I've had a sighting of Bigfoot out there. I've had stones thrown at me. I have 2 documentaries full of facts of things that have happened to me while I'm out there that are very Sasquatch, Bigfoot behavior. But in this case, I couldn't really just jump and say that's what it is, because there's only one eye. And, so we're going to leave it as where it was positioned was the final mark that we had was like 8'4" from where the eye was. So if it had a head, and if it was standing there, we're looking at 9 feet tall. If not, then we're just talking again about just a mystery of anomaly that we caught that wasn't a person. And we don't believe it was a person. We don't believe it was a man. So that's where we've ended up right now with the footage. And Marty.
Thank
Yeah.
Gary.
No,
Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. It's so sweet. Thank you, Cindy, for that super chat as well. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
oh, look at that. The love is showing. The love is
I
showing.
know the love is there. It's
But
right.
but again, bottom line, and I can't repeat it enough, is that I can't prove what that was. I can just prove what it wasn't. And that's it. That's as far as we've gone with it, because we really don't know, and it will probably never know it, because we can't really lighten up the footage of the IR, because it's only lights up so close before it's just pure black.
Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing in spreading the love tonight. Thank you, Jane, gifting another 5 memberships. All of y'all that are getting memberships tonight, give a huge drop a heart for those two, for Jane and for Gary. Thank you.
So Jay, is this in an area that you go all the time? Is this the first time you've been in this area?
Same time. I've been doing it now for 11 years. The same area. I have never. A lot of people ask me, why don't I go further up north or go to different states? Because I don't have the answers that I want in the areas that I go to right now. It's very easy to say, stones being thrown at you, or the large footprints that we have found or casted, or the sighting that, Bigfoot roams the Kettle Moraine. But I want to go further than that. I'm not out there to try to prove it, and try to prove it to the world. I mean, everybody's got their minds made up, right? Either 50% is going to believe you, 50% thinks you're full of beans. And yeah. And so,
right.
And yeah. But
if you've got an area close to you, why wouldn't you stay there and continue to, I mean, right. That's my thought. It's like, if you've got them close to you, stay in your area. You don't have to be traipsing off to California or Canada or whatever. It's like, if they're close to you, stay there and work it.
Yeah.
You'll eventually.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's the way I look at it, is there are so many researchers everywhere. I give everyone kudos for doing what they do, and everybody's doing it in their own states, their own towns, whatever. And I mean, that's great. I can't comment on things that have happened in California or Kentucky or Tennessee, wherever. I can only comment on the facts that I have here in Wisconsin. That's it. And again, what it is, again, we don't know, because, well, that's kind of hard for me to say. I used to say that all the time until I had my sighting almost this time last year. It was March 24th.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, around 3:17 p.m. I almost remember
it. You guys are amazing tonight. Thank you.
Okay, tell me about your sighting, because I haven't heard it. I love to hear this.
Jay, just so you know, I didn't say anything to Marianne really about you. So she's coming in.
I'm flying blind here, Jay.
Cold.
Okay, well,
on purpose.
Yeah, well, and that's actually good. I thought I've had a few night sightings that were just shadows, but it's always like that out of the corner of your eye. Did you see something move? This was a daytime sighting in the afternoon. It was the end of March. We had that really weird freak snowstorm. I mean, it was like my friend Bryn actually invited me up to near her property, which is just hop, skip, and a jump right from east of where I research in the Kettle. And she's like, you got to come up. I found some incredible tree structures out here. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere out there. And, we're out there. So I get up there and actually get through all the snowstorm and everything. By the time I arrived there, it actually stopped snowing. But the cool thing, all these standing pines that we were looking at, which you could see for a good 100 yards, just everything, just standing pines and nothing in between. Really cool. And it looked like a winter wonderland, because the way the snow hit and it was still stuck on the side of the trees and on the ground, it was beautiful. And so we're out there kind of traipsing around looking at these very unique tree structures that were out there, that were you know, I documented them, obviously. But again, with those, it's like, well, we never really saw if Bigfoot did that or not. Again, it's just by listening to everybody else of what their opinions are on that. But, you know, because I always say, you know, if you go into an old 1800s house, it's a really old house, and you go in there and you hear a creak, it's automatically a ghost, right? Because it's an old house. And it just because you're in the woods and it's uncontrolled, there's animals roaming everywhere. You hear a break or something, it's got to be Bigfoot because you're in the woods. And that's what you're looking for. So that's how I kind of view a lot of the tree structures, but some of them are very unique, no matter what, however you would say it, because you know, is it possible? People, you know, many men went out there and built it in this weird way, a cathedral type thing. But it's not probable. And I guess that's kind of how I look at it, and I have to document it. However, we were out there for 3.5 hours. And whenever I go into the woods, I have this one hand signal I do. Now, usually if somebody's new with me, they probably think I'm bonkers, which, okay, I'll agree with you, I'm bonkers. But I used to go out with like a big rig type handheld all in one, where I had my flashlight, my HD, my thermal, everything. I was like a production crew. And I'm like, in the beginning, I'm like, why isn't Bigfoot coming around here? I can't catch anything. And then I talked to this one guy out, and I call him Teach. His name's Mitch Townsend. And you know, we would talk even on the phone, and he would say, what are you trying to do though? Are you trying to capture this to show the world? And I'm like, no. And I'm thinking maybe a little, kind of, but still not really. And he goes, lose all the equipment. He goes, if you're going to carry an audio device, just conceal it. Be hands-free. So when I walk out into the woods now, and this was about a year later in 2014, I'd walk out there and I'd be like, I'd raise my hands up and go, see, nothing in my hands, nothing. And then I would give them a wave. And that has been my calling card since 2014. When I walk in, I will do that. And usually I'll hear the raccoon and possum laugh after I do it. Like, this human's just bonkers. But it was, yeah, right. But it was my way of communicating, or I don't know, my calling card when I would go in there, because I kept thinking, oh, would that be cool? One day something stands out, you know, down the path and I can see it, and it's a Bigfoot and it raises its hands and does this. I'd be like, that would be contact, that would be communication, and that would be sweet. Yep. So getting back to the sighting, sorry, I'm a lot like Edith Bunker. I'll just keep rambling on.
I loved Edith.
And yeah, so we were leaving, and I did my greeting, and hey, all right. And I even said, all right, guys, we'll see you over my area next week or whatever, next time I'm going to be out there. And let's say I'm facing this way, looking at the Winter Wonderland, which is all, right in front of me, all the way to my right, about 45 degrees, even 90 degrees, just where I had that total view. And I turned my head to my right, and I saw it. It came from nowhere, and it was jet black. It was probably my best guess 60 yards away. But if it was 60 yards away, even if it was even a little further, I could make out a head, a shoulder. It looked like the arms had to have been down. I couldn't see any feet or anything, but it was really quick and fast, like if it was on skis. Like it just went, it got broke up by a few trees, and I should have seen whatever it was continue. Just like if you saw a deer running out there, you would just see him keep going. This thing just went really quickly in front of me, behind a couple thin trees cluster, and it should have continued, and it never did. And it took me a second to where I was just like, oh, I just saw it, you know. And sorry, I always relive this whenever I tell this story, because it was like one of the most important things besides my kids and my marriage, getting married. But doing this, it was everything that I've worked up to this point, all of a sudden went out the door. It didn't matter if I had a cast or found prints or had rocks thrown at me or heard vocals or any of that. You know, I already felt like I was a knower. You know, people say, "Are you a believer?" No, I'm a knower. I felt like I was a knower before that happened, and after that happened, everything else, it just all changed for me at that moment. Everything changed because it would almost be like if Marty was out there and she was just walking, and then I knew it was you. I'd be like, all right, well, there's Marty. I know she's left, you know, some pens over there, or, you know, or this is where she left her white hat, you know, wherever. Then I would be able to say, all right, that was Marty. That was Marty. That was Marty. Now I just saw Marty. And so all of a sudden that all changed. And I didn't want to say it changed, that it was the end of my journey. It was just the beginning of it. You
Right.
know, it was the beginning of it, because it's not that I'm out there trying to capture that evidence. Now, a lot of people ask, number one, did I catch it on body cam? No, my body cam was here. I know a lot of people will put a GoPro on their head, which I always thought like TAP should have done back in the early years, the ghost hunters on TV. They're always like, do you see that? And you hear the scary music, and they'd look over there. I just saw it. Yeah. But I don't wear anything on my head. I just kind of keep a concealed body cam. But my head was actually turned to the right. So it wasn't out of the corner of my eye. It was a full, there it is. And you could tell right by my body cam that I would have just missed it by maybe 10 feet from the way I was positioned. But, you know, then they're saying, well, did you go over there and look for footprints? And I'm like, no, I didn't, because I knew what I saw. Again, if I just saw Marty walk by, why would I want to go over there to see if I just saw her footprints? I know what I saw. And even if I couldn't find the exact location or find the footprints, would that have been, well, maybe I'm just seeing things. And it's like, no, it's like I know what I saw. And it was so cool. I think I even told I think I even told Marty. Then I called you that night, didn't I?
You did. You called me that night.
Yeah.
And the
I'm like,
excitement. Oh my God, the excitement. You and I talked probably for 4 hours that night.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because I could not
Yeah.
get that out of my mind. And, you know, a lot of times people will say, if you see something and you think it by misidentification, then if you keep telling yourself that you did see it, now we're believing our own lies. Like, we can't trust our eyes. And I've gone out, like I said, I've been out there for, well, at that point it was 10 years. And I stopped having my high expectation that tonight's going to be the night. You know, right now it's more the discovery, or just being out with friends and enjoying nature, or when I take my kids out, like during the day and at night, it's all about the nature. It's about that journey, that trip. And I think at that point, when you kind of lower your expectations, you're not going to make yourself see something that you're seeking. And people would say, all right, well, subconsciously. I don't know. All I know is, right, Marty, when I told you and you heard it, I said, I gasp. I don't gasp. I like lost my breath when I saw it. It was kind of like, all right, I can't even do it. It's actually embarrassing because I don't gasp. You know, I'm not that surprised.
And I mean, in the footage, you do gasp. You're just like,
yeah,
like you really do. Like it took your breath away for sure.
Yeah, where I'm like, I saw it, and I almost sounded like that. I was just so excited. And so, you know, could I have manifested that subconsciously? You know, I guess anything's possible, but I don't see a Bigfoot every time I go out there. Every time there's a crack, I don't think there's a Bigfoot behind every tree. I really don't believe that. And honestly, I never thought I would actually have a sighting. You know, so that's my sighting, and that was almost a year ago, the 24th of March. So it'll be a year ago.
And are you going to put that in your next documentary, like that whole, you know, are you going to include that, or are you going to just kind of
Guess you're
leave it
gonna
for
have to wait
yourself?
and see. No,
I guess you're right.
I'm joking. I share
I know.
valuable and top secret information with you.
I know.
And now that I can actually speak about that, because after I got done with part 2, people already rushed to watch it, and they're like, "Well, when's part 3 coming out?" And I'd ask that question.
Well, that's a huge compliment. It means that they
Yeah.
loved 1, they loved 2, and they're dying for 3.
I know, but I always said the first one that I was going to make was just going to be my 5 years of all the odd stuff that's happened to me and what I think it possibly could be, and that was going to be it. Because if you try to do your own documentary, and that is recording it, directing it, doing the interviews, the editing, it takes a lot. And now think about working full-time, having wife and kids and other things going on, and that really absorbed me, the first one. So I was done with that. I was like, I'm not doing what I do to make documentaries. I'm not. I just thought it turned more into, when I got done with that first one, it was more that education part of it, of being able to share what's going on with me here. Somebody in California could, all right, whatever. Or even here in Wisconsin, it's kind of like, all right, well, this guy's Looney Tunes or whatever. Or, you get the praise of, wow, you're going out and doing that. But I wasn't, in that mode, because I was actually thinking that I started part 2, Beyond the Kettle, Finding J2. And again, that took a long time too. So when I was done with that, then I was getting when's 3 coming out? I remember my wife said, you can't even think about starting anything. You got to give it a year before I can even think about it, because she knows on how much I dive into this. Yes. And so then I was like, I'm not about putting out quantities, because people say, are you putting it on Amazon? You're making money. Trust me, you're not making a living off putting anything on Amazon. And that's not even it. It's basically trying to reach people, of saying, if you are interested in this 100%, you can listen to all the podcasts, you watch all the documentaries, read all the books. You can learn a lot from that, but you'll never get that unless you're boots to ground in the field, and being out there. That's when you'll discover your truth, because we can all have our opinions. People can believe there's unicorns roaming and we don't see them. Then you hear about the Thunderbirds and you're thinking, well, there's been a sighting or 2 around here in Wisconsin. Where do these huge birds, roost or nest? And nobody's ever found them, but yet people are seeing it. So, the truth is going to be when you get out there and explore and discover for yourself. And that's where my documentary is coming into. So again, I'm long-winded like Edith Bunker here, answering Marty's question, saying, will I be adding that? Yes, 100%. I'll be adding quite a bit of, everything that we're pretty much talking about will be in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, how did you get started? What was the thing that sent you into the woods originally? Was it just to hike, or was it for Bigfoot, or?
Actually, because I live up here near Elkhorn, Wisconsin, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Beast of Bray Road.
Yes.
That Bray Road is about 15 minutes from my house, that I can just drive down it. And I started in 2007 ghost hunting. Me and my wife founded a team called the Wisconsin Paranormal Investigators, and grabbed a group of friends that were all interested in it. The next thing you know, we had like a team of 10 setting up, recorders and every cameras, doing the audio, going to some of the pay and plays. That's what I call them. Like, you have to pay to research there. But that started to get oversaturated probably in 2010, 2011. It just seemed like everybody was now a ghost hunter or had a team. And our requests that we had on our website started going down, because it was just saturated. It's the only thing I could think of at this point. Or the people that wanted to have their house investigated become investigators themselves, because everybody was doing it. But we really never got past like 2013, where some of the team members, they just had different ideas or ways to go. And I'm like, I don't want to just be a ghost hunter. I want to hunt. This is what our slogan was: hunt the truth. And that's going out and figuring out whatever truth it is. I don't care if it's ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, and Dogman or Mothman or anything like that. But I just listed a bunch of things, but guess who was the furthest down on that list? It was Bigfoot. And I'm like, Bigfoot was the butt end of a joke. We'd make Chewbacca sounds to sound like, Sasquatch. And and I guess personally, because my dad took me to go see Mysterious Monsters back in the 70s. Yes, I dated myself there too. Where it was Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and the Yeti, which those two were the same. So, and I saw the Patterson-Gimlin film in mid 70s, and even as a young lad, I looked at it and I'm like, it looks like a guy in a suit. I mean, that's how my critical thinking was back then. Where I'm like, okay, and then you kind of go through your years, and then Harry and the Hendersons, and then Finding Bigfoot came out, and I'm still like, nobody has ever found a Bigfoot, a body, the bones. I'm like, where's the proof? And everybody's doing this now. Come on, we would have had to catch up with it, even with a really good photo. So to me, Bigfoot was the lowest on the list, and at the end of the ghost hunting ish, where I was kind of switching over a little bit, I'm like, let's go legend tripping. Let's just go up to Bray Road. And you can't get off on Bray Road, like park and get off, because everything is privately owned farmlands. So I never recommend anybody do it. You can drive it. It's a public road. So I thought, let's see if we have a sighting and just drive around till like 3 a.m. I think we saw a black cat once and a raccoon, but nothing really cool about it. So we kept going a little bit further north and further north as we were driving, and we ended up in the Kettle Moraine. And I remember it was October 19th, 2013, that the 4 legend trippers here, we found a place to park off. We didn't have to like go into a parking area, and we just pulled off. And it was a really crappy night vision camcorder with a digital tape even, but it's the only thing that had night vision that I had. And so we go out there, and it was kind of cool. I mean, I wasn't nervous about it. I was never really, wasn't an outdoorsman. I've become that. So I always say I was not an Outback Jack. And we're walking out there, and that's when I first heard the vocals of, honestly, it sounded like a man and a simian type Amazon monkey. If you ever watch an old, one of those old black and white movies of them going down the Amazon, and you just hear these monkey howls, but it almost sounded like a person too. It was really weird, but I captured a little bit of that on the crappy camcorder I had. And that's what really kind of got me to it, where I'm like, I went back and I started going through all the soundboard of the indigenous nightlife animals in Wisconsin, and daytime as well. And I was trying to find a match. If you go to a deer soundboard, you're going to get, just a list of the different calls that they do. And you have to do that with every single animal, and we could not come close to it. So that's what kind of hooked me, but I didn't know what it was. I'm thinking, we're kind of out looking for the beast of Bray Road. And all of a sudden now I'm getting sucked into, Bigfoot. And I didn't even call it Bigfoot back then. They said, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm looking for a woods beast. That's what I called it. Oh, I didn't say a woods creature, a wood beast. And they're like, Bigfoot. And I'm like, no, a wood beast. I couldn't even say Bigfoot, because you might as well lock me up. And that was the beginning of it. And, here I am today, obviously, but I'm still learning. I was never, you were asking, was I an outdoorsman? No, the type of hiking or camping we would do is RVing it in a nice campground where you could have, that type of camping. But to go out, get the tent ready and get a campfire and everything like that, I'm like, oh, there's ticks out there though. I hate ticks. There's poison ivy out there, poison oak. I'm like, no, this is cool. This is cool. I'll just stay away. But now, because I treat my clothes and everything, I really don't even think twice about ticks or anything like that. I'm like, if I'm going out there, I'm going out there for a reason.
Yep.
So hopefully that was a long answer.
Well, we've got quite a few questions that I starred here. Before we start with questions, and Mr. Woods is in the chat tonight, and I sure miss you and Primal Cry. You guys need to come around a little bit more often. I miss y'all. I forgot he was on my he's been on my channel as a guest a couple of times, and he's in Wisconsin.
Really?
And loves you to death. And now I'm remembering when I saw the comment, and I remembered, and I had forgotten about it, and I started. So I want to come back to that because
absolutely.
I'm gonna have him reach out to you, Jay, privately. Yes. And that way he can talk to you about his encounter. Okay.
Absolutely. That's generally one of the biggest things of trying to say it's not Bigfoot at all is that it had one eye. And then I keep thinking, hey, you know what? My belief is that Bigfoot is flesh and blood, but it has so much more special attributes that we can't comprehend. Again, this is just coming from a crazy guy, Jay, in Wisconsin, and everybody's got their opinions on it. But if they are physical, the first thing I'm thinking of is, well, maybe it has an injured eye, and that's what it is. Because I mean, this light looks like it's on a swivel, like it's like sure. Like you almost want to put it on a head and go like that. But yeah, I definitely love to for him to reach out. Sure.
Yeah, I will get him in touch with you. I will connect you guys together because
great.
I had forgot. When you and I talked about it yesterday, I completely forgot about him talking about that. And then when I saw him put it in the chat, I started so quick. I was like, oh yes, okay. Now I remember. So I'm gonna get you guys together.
Great. Thanks.
All right, let's see. So Brian Barber has had a question. Was all of this at a place Jay goes often? And yes, this is pretty much really the only place you research, right?
Right. I mean, I have like several different areas within as they say, as the crow flies, distance away from each other. What I like to do is just kind of mix it up of the areas I go to, which is pretty much the same area as a whole. And that's what I try to do is just different days or different times or different areas. And I like to kind of hit them all. I always like to say, if this woods was like where they would inhabit, I would say we're going to go to where the Walmart is there. And then maybe they're at the gas station tonight, or maybe they're at home. And so I try to give a nice even mix up of the different areas I go to. So it's not just happening in one place. I mean, it could be, but there's other times. There's more times than not that it's just quiet as anything. Then I'm always like, well, they're at the nightclub. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But sometimes that's the way I kind of feel about the different locations that I go to.
And Brian Barber, his comment was, I need to take documenting less classes from Jay. Let me tell you, Jay, if you watch Jay's documentaries, Brian, you'll see how he shows you kind of how he works things out. And he's very, very, very good at that. And one more comment on the super chat. Thank you, Lenny. He says, thank you for your outstanding contributions to the subject, Jay.
Well, you're welcome. I always come into these things. I'm always humbled that I'm asked, even though this is my third or fourth time on your show. And again, we don't make money for doing this. And I'm always eager to hop on these to be able to share just what I know from what I've gone through. And believe me, I still don't know everything. I mean, a lot of people suggest that, but I'm still a student in this as well, just like everybody else. Everybody's is that same goal. So does Jay?
And
Yeah.
Does Jay also use a backwards cam?
I used to, because I've sponsored Bob Love on many occasions. Their body cams, they would always send them to me so I could field test them and do the review for them. So I've ended up with a lot, and I started putting them on the back as well as the front. Then I was thinking, getting a GoPro for my hat or whatnot. But there was a certain time that I actually stopped doing all that because, again, what am I trying to do? Should I put them on my shoulders facing in every direction so that I can study every little piece of saying, oh, there it is. And now I've got to show everybody they are real, versus trying to strip down the technology that's creating a barrier between me and nature. I mean, I used to have like a shotgun mic right up here so I could actually catch sounds from way out there. And I'm like, I started feeling like the Borg, from Star Trek, where I'm just, I felt assimilated. And I'm like, no, I want to just keep everything as low key. If I'm, going to put on a body cam or carry a audio device or something, I just want it tucked away. And I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about carrying equipment. And I do, but I just kind of keep it concealed. And I'm more out there for the observation of what I can try to try to process when things happen. And again, just because I'm out there doesn't mean something's always happening. Sometimes we have to make things happen. And usually that's a lot of laughing and stuff. So
is there ever bacon involved in that?
What's that?
Oh, bacon.
Is bacon ever involved?
No bacon involved.
Here we are with bacon again. We're back to bacon. Some more shenanigans going on.
Well, the thing is, they're no matter what the DNR says, there are big cats out there with us. I've definitely found a lot of feline prints over the years. So they're out there. I don't conceal a firearm, but there's a reason for that. And again, people will call me crazy. Safety is number one in my book, and that's why I carry my cold steel survival, knife, my bear spray. Especially at night, I've got 3,500 lumens flashlight that will blind anything in front of me just to get the advantage. But I also feel that like I don't want to say like a dog can sense a person's fear. I think that is it possible that when we go out there, they can sense our confidence, and our confidence is that I'm packing a firearm for protection and I can hurt people, and I'm confident that way. So therefore, maybe that approach, that contact that I'm trying to do, wouldn't be if that was the case. So I try to go a certain way, but I want people to feel safe while they're out there too.
Right. Mr. Woods asks, Jay, have you ever encountered something that you wished you had not?
Oh, now there's a really big fat spider hanging from a tree in the dark that I'm about to walk into. Absolutely. Not, I mean, I guess if it's, I mean, we've seen like standing there in the dark, you would be surprised on how many animals will come up to you. Like muskrats from like nearby swamp or something like that. You just hear them. They sound like a squatch walking through the woods. You're like, shh, you get the thermal. There's his little butt going by and everything. But nothing that. Well, let me answer that correctly. Yeah, there is one thing, and it has nothing to do with something that's tangible, whether it's Bigfoot or not. I have, in the past 11 years, I've lost time out there and with somebody, and that is probably the freakiest thing that I have encountered out there. In fact, there is a certain path in my area that I don't go down, that I will not go down. Think of The Empire Strikes Back when Luke's on Dagobah and he feels the dark side. Sorry, another 80s reference. It is I feel like it's a dark side. That's where I've lost that time. And there's something about not having that control over that. Like Bigfoot came up to me, at least I could, fall on the ground and get in a fetal position. I can control what I'm going to do. When you lose time is it's something you can control. And I think that freaks me out the most about that. So that's one of the things that I have encountered that I wish I had not. And it doesn't happen often, and it's kind of down in that one area. Again, I walk by it and I feel when we're at the top of a kettle, and I know it kind of goes off that way, and it does kind of a big horseshoe, and it's like a mile or two. I don't go down that way, but when I'm on this side of the path, I feel like I'm in my own living room. During a Sunday afternoon, I feel so comfortable being there. Down there, I don't. And again, that's just something, I'm still working through on it. Everyone's like, come on, if you're an investigator, you go down there. And it's like, no, there's something telling me not to go down there. So
what do you think it's connected to? Or if a portal, like another dimension, or if you just had to guess, I'm not asking, just if you were going to speculate and just have fun and speculate on something.
Okay, I'm gonna speculate. This one instance actually happened. I'm gonna tell this story, okay? And it was with another researcher, Sanjay Singhal, and this was back in 2014 when this happened. And I just met Sanjay, and we used to go out hiking a lot back then. And we did go down that path. That's where we lost the 26 minutes, and it was really weird because that's what the audio recorded versus what our time said. It didn't add up. There was like 26 minutes missing. And it was kind of a long hike around there. It was during the day that we left. And I remember going home, and everything just felt weird. And we actually drove to my house because that's where he met me, and then he got in his car and he left back to his house. And immediately after he left, I felt like asleep. I was exhausted. I don't even know what it was from. It was really weird. But so did he, and he was doing a lot of the shaman, trying to talk to like that, which I don't do. And he was telling me just that night when he was talking that it was like a vision / dream. That we were not in the kettle. We were in some sort of medical room. We were not, the medical people were not aliens or anything like that. They seemed to be like men with white coats, like doctors. And he remembers that I was standing, he was standing right next to me, and I was like on a slab. And the only thing I had on was my underwear. And he also said something is like, and you have really long toes. This is everything he was doing. Now, again, I just met Sanjay like a month or two prior to that. We don't have that relationship where I'm walking around in sandal, anything like that. I'm out, I've got boots on, but he was describing my feet the way they are. And the really weird thing, and I always say that's why this is really weird, is he also commented on the color underwear I had, which, if you get jockey, you get various variety of color. And it was purple underwear or, boxer briefs. And he knew that it was not like I go out in the woods and I'm, if I have to use the bathroom, whatever, I'm doing that in front of everybody. There is no way he could have known that. There's no way.
Right.
And I think that's the part that bothers me, is that we lost the time. Odie said that when I was sitting there on the slab, that I kept like moaning and asking for Katie, my wife. I kept saying, Katie. And again, that's the part that bothers me, because it's like, where were we? Or, did we really lose time? you know.
Was it a
So,
screen memory? I've had missing time, so I get it. It's
yeah,
like you literally, it's just so blank. You know you were somewhere, and yet there you just it's just blank. It's just emptiness, and
yeah.
it's very it's very unnerving and very unsettling.
Because there's that non-control of where
Mhm.
you were. Then you've got this one guy you were
Yes.
hiking with explaining, describing your feet,
Mhm.
describing, the color underwear you're wearing. It's like
Mhm.
it was really bizarre. And I know
Mhm.
there was the first time I said that, or if you talk to anybody about that, it's a big ha, guys. You saw your
Right.
color, whatever, and it's like, no, but you don't understand. I know for a fact there's no way he saw. There's just no way. And we were
Right.
only out there for like about maybe 3.5 hours tops. And like I said, it bothers me because I don't remember that time that we lost because it was
Mhm.
it was normal. It's not like you're walking, all of a sudden you black out, and then you're there again, and you're like, oh, I lost time. No, just think of everything just going on as it should, but then things didn't add up at the end, and that's the only thing I can think of.
Mhm.
And so I mean,
Yeah.
what truth is that of there? Because it's like, you're going out in the woods, you're thinking it's all Bigfoot related, but then you've got the orbs. What are the orbs? What is Bigfoot doing out there? What's this missing time? Are there portals? I mean, again, I
Right.
don't know. I can only speculate on what we went through, but I don't know.
Primal Cry asks, Jay, did you notice any marks on your body after that?
No, and that's one of the things that I was kind of looking at. And it's funny because sometimes you get something on your back because we all do. I'll have my wife check
Mhm.
it, and I'm like, I think I was abducted by aliens. Can you look to see? Um, and she always laughs.
I had marks on my body the next day.
Well, the thing is, I didn't
So
see any. I didn't see any
that's what freaked
noticeable.
me out big time.
Right. And the thing is, I didn't notice any noticeable marks on me, especially
Mhm.
after that, because then you're looking, but then, and we know our own bodies. So I didn't
Right.
I didn't see anything, not unless it was somewhere different, behind my ear, under my hair, or you know what I mean?
Right.
It could have been anywhere, but the fact being is that that part really did happen. And Sanjay really did have that shaman, that vision dream or whatnot that he shared with me. And then I'm thinking, whoa.
Primal Cry asks, any metallic taste in your mouth?
I'm trying to think back at that point. And I remember having the
Good question.
Omicron back in 2021. And I remember that kind of that metallic taste. So I'm trying to refer back to anything that was different. And honestly, I think besides having a sinus headache, but I got those a lot,
Mhm.
back then. I used to get real bad sinus pressure right here. So again, that was internal, but I always, chalk that up to the weather or
Mhm.
or anything like that, allergies or whatever. That's the only thing I could think of back then, but not like metallic or anything like that I can think of.
Brian Barber asks, what's Jay's opinion on the most important pieces of equipment for research?
The most important opinion or the piece of equipment right here, it's you. That's what the equipment is. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter if you have a body cam or audio recorder or anything like that. When
Mhm.
you're going out there, really
Yeah.
it's got to be here for me. I don't mean to be
Mhm.
like standing on a soapbox. For me, it's me. That's the most valuable piece of equipment. Now you would say, okay, that could be, I'm using that as a parody or whatnot. But it's true because I'm the most capable of observing, to be able to pull out another piece of equipment to observe that. So it's really you. But when I'm out there, it's probably my audio recorder over anything because body cams or GoPros are only going to see so far, especially in the dark. You get a good audio device, it's going to capture everything, so you don't get, the holy grail shot of a Bigfoot or something like that. You're getting not only what you see, but your own reaction, and your own reaction is key, I believe, as a good piece of equipment, is your reaction to seeing something or hearing something. I do have a thermal flare scout that I like to, wrap around my neck and just kind of look, but I'm also looking to see if there's any cougars or anything in the trees or anything sneaking up on us. But, again, for importance, I'm going to have to go with the audio device more than anything. And of course, you being you and being open, walking out.
Yeah. No, I think that's really, I mean, we are the best biosensors, we really are. And your heart, I mean, the position of your heart too, when you're open and you're calm and you're just, I know this sounds crazy, but I tell people all the time, like when you're just there and enjoying being in the space, not really looking for them, but you're just there and you're just enjoying being in this living, breathing world out there.
Yeah.
The most amazing things happen. The most amazing things happen.
I mean, isn't that great? I mean, even being out there at dusk, and this was many years ago, I actually had my thermal and I was just kind of like looking around, and it was near dusk. All of a sudden I see something fly right by me. It wasn't a bat, it was a flying squirrel. I thought that was it was the coolest thing to see. Or if you are looking at thermal and you see a raccoon climbing a tree and you're watching him make his journey, where is he going to go? That's cool to see.
Yeah.
So it's really, or even coming up on a deer, because you're so quiet and stealthy while you're out there, all of a sudden you hear him, put up your thermal, there's the deer. And then all of a sudden you see him notice you and then kind of move, and then he does his gallop away. So yeah, going out there, it's discovering new things for me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And Brian says, thank you so much for all the answers. And I love the answer for equipment. I always enjoy the woods with or without some hairy people company.
Well, you're very welcome. And again, this is just coming from how I would do it. And you can take that any way you can. There are great, Bigfoot researchers out there. Actually, I don't even say I'm a Bigfoot researcher. I am just a truth seeker. And, when I'm going out there, I never say I'm squatching. I'm never Bigfooting. I'm always hiking, because when I'm hiking, I'm observing. So
one more question. Yep. How does your wife and family feel about you tracking Bigfoot?
Oh, okay. Well, we'll start with my wife. She supports me 100%, which is what any husband can ask a wife to do. Her belief in Bigfoot itself is that it's very possible, but maybe more on the Pacific Northwest woods out there. But here, she's supportive. She's getting a little better at telling people that's what I do. I think a lot of times she just said I worked for the CIA. But no, so I think she's getting a little more comfortable. Are you getting more comfortable over there?
I just laughed at you.
Okay, so she just laughed at me. But now my kids, they had no choice. They kind of grew up into me being a truth seeker, so they've known Bigfoot since they were little. But I also educate them and showing them. I mean, if I take them out, we do go out. I'm definitely not a mother hen, but a father rooster. And I'm always, watching my kids, no matter what. I don't care if it's Bigfoot, Dogman, or some crazy person with a hockey mask on. It doesn't matter. I'm a very protective father. But I like to teach them not to be scared of the woods and to go out there to find things. So my kids are definitely on board, and especially as well, my oldest daughter, Madison. She's gone out with me and had plenty of experiences that were captured. So that's how my family feels about it.
Wow, Jay, thank you. Thank you so much for being here again. And you're going to come back. I mean,
Obviously.
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 You're one of my Bigfoot besties. I can't,
Well, I appreciate that. Anytime, I try to fill in, even in, situations where, you need somebody, and I couldn't, but, but at the same time,
you do.
I'm always open. Just hit me up.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat tonight. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to, hold on one second. Thank you, Gary, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Jane, for also gifting 5 memberships. Brian Barber, thank you for your super chat. Lenny, thank you. And Miss Cindy was sent 2 because she was loving the show and she's sharing the love. She's sharing the love tonight. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate you all so very much for being here. Any final questions for Jay? Anyone? We got like 2 more minutes, maybe. Probably not.
And
really,
I'll answer them quick too. This will be like the lightning round.
Lightning round.
Yeah.
Hurry, lightning round. Brian Barber, hurry up. Type away.
I think we need to get Jay to come to Missouri.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That would be. And again, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't look at not being able to go anywhere else, but I have my one area. Definitely, if I'm going somewhere on vacation,
Good night, Michael.
Definitely go check out different areas.
Yeah, down here, people kind of overlook southern Missouri, and it's actually a hot spot. It really is, of the stuff that goes on down here, because we have
by the Ozarks. And
yes,
we drove through there on our way back from our Texas trip last year, and we went through there, and I'm like, oh, I was drooling. I'm like, I would want to get out here and check that out. But again, like you said, if you're there, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have some people that I go out with, and they like to go other places and travel, and I'm like, guys, but we have stuff go on almost every time we go out. So why go anywhere else? If you keep going into an area and stuff keeps going on, it's
right.
Like, why go anywhere else?
I 100% agree.
100%
agree.
So I'm like, I like to travel, but I'm going to Bigfoot in my backyard.
Well, maybe we can get Jay to come down, to come in September.
Yeah, we have a conference going on.
In September, I'm actually speaking at the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Camping Adventure. Get your tickets at PA Bigfoot Camping Adventure. Actually, I'm one of the speakers. Eric Altman invited me back to speak, which is awesome. This is a great event. One. Yeah, it's definitely well worth it. There's going to be 8 different speakers there, say guest speakers. Then we got Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot going to be there.
Fun.
And Willie and Jeff from Mountain Monsters. And it's a great time because we do night hiking on the Chestnut Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such an awesome trip. But anyway, yes.
We're doing a camp out. We do a camp out with ours. Cool. Now, last year we did it before. Okay. We had the perfect storm, and we had one come through camp, and we got a sighting and tracks and all kinds of stuff. But this year we're going to do the conference and go straight to the woods for 4 days after.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's private property. The guy has stuff going on, so we're going to go back.
So when do you do it? Like in what?
The conference is September the 28th, and then we're going to camp, and that's a Saturday. We're going to camp through Tuesday night, break camp Wednesday morning. And we go out. It's primitive camping because it's private property. Awesome. But we provide meals. We're going to day hike, night hike, just go out there and have a good time.
Rough it.
We're gonna probably get some bacon and go and squatch bait, right? Right, Marianne? That's our plan.
And I know we're running out of time, but you're not gonna tell me anything about bacon? Or am I just gonna be left hanging here?
That's a backstage.
That's a backstage story.
I'll see you backstage.
And as far as the solar eclipse, we are not in a full eclipse. We are in a partial eclipse area. And I have decided, I was invited to go speak at a UFO event during that.
Interesting.
Right. Now, did I know that was going on when I agreed? No.
That's awesome. That's perfect. UFO, you're already gonna be looking up. That's awesome.
Right. Somebody goes, you know that the eclipse is going on. I went, oh no, I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, it'll be fun.
Awesome. Oh, don't worry. If you just come back with missing time, you won't remember. So it's all good.
Oh yeah, it's okay.
I don't like missing time. It proves nothing, but you have no control.
Right.
Yeah. It's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It is. Well, thank you guys for being here in the chat tonight. I love y'all. You guys are the best. Thank you to my mods who keep it an amazing, safe environment for all of y'all. And it's always fun. And they're amazing. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Jay. Thank you again, Marianne, for being here and co-hosting with me.
Thank you.
And everybody, please remember to spread love and kindness wherever you go. See you next week.